We are a company from Poland. We have boss Radek. We are also making street lighting. We started about a year ago with the street lighting. Well, 3 years ago actually, but a year ago we started to sell something. We are a company that exists about 20 years. 25. Mostly our origin is not, let's say, manufacturing, but mainly it is telecommunications. But what we want to tell you today about is not the IQRF itself, but it is the tools that we use in our development. And every end user interface consists many blocks, many modules, many things that together are making the system. What we are usually using in our company is mostly open source tools. Also in other, let's say, in other things we do. We do telecommunications, so of course gateways, or of course routers, of course telephony infrastructure like Asterisk and things like that is something that we always used. Also on our private computers, I think we use Linux mostly. So we are, let's say, company that works mostly on open source, and this is something that we want to tell you today about, and about, let's say, things that comes from it. Benefit of it, yes. Open source tools provides us something that, excuse me. Sorry. Okay, so at first I will show you what we do right now. And how our system looks. There you can see the lamp, and there you can see interface for this lamp, I guess, which we can of course turn on. Or okay, I think I choose wrong lamp. Maybe you do it because you configured this. Maybe you need a mouse. Okay. So this is basically what is going on here. The light switches on and off, and of course we can dim it and things like this. But this is something that isn't, I think, impressing you because you know about this as much as we do. Okay, but going back to open source, I think all things that we use here are based or at least influenced by open source. Also, the hardware in here is driven by open source software mostly. Open source gives us something that is already done and made. As you can see, we use, this is just examples of tools we are using here. And all of these tools are open sourced, and all of these tools are, let's say, critical to what we do. Without them, we would have much more work to do because we will have to start everything from the beginning. Open source give you easy start because you can start based on something that already exists, and you don't have to rewrite everything from the beginning. You can cooperate with people all around the world, and your development is supported by people you don't even know. What you have to do is just add what you need to this software, what you exactly need, and you can go on and share it with others so they can write what they need additionally to this, what you wrote. What gives you another benefit, okay, of using open source is also that it requires standardization, because this is a tool that you use and other people use. So if you want to share something, you have to make it understandable for other people, and everyone who works on it have to know what's going on there. So examples of it is a lot of examples, like Asterisk, like we told, is a situation where many telecommunication companies, under their trademarked solutions, use Asterisk to communicate with each other, because it's only solution that is standard enough to talk to every system that is on the market. Sometimes it's working not very good, sometimes it's working very good, but this is only tool that can talk to everyone, and this is something unique for open source, because open source is something that people use when where they cannot use, let's say, trademarked and closed solutions. So this is something that have always opened door. The solutions that are wait a second, please. Okay, also this is something that is important for you, because if you are writing something in open source, you have to make it understandable and transparent enough for other people to see and to understand. But it's not always good to, let's say, open up from the beginning, of course, because you may be afraid that someone may steal your property, intellectual property, I mean, and your work may be used by the others. But on the other hand, you have benefit of cooperating with other people, and what you gain is much more than what you risk, actually. Of course, you can wait until your project is let's say, big enough to go when it's opened, and this is something what we call critical mass here, and sometimes it's good to wait with opening, like IQRF, I think, is waiting with open sourcing, they said today, till next 2 years, until they get some, let's say, critical mass, so nothing can stop them later on. But this is something on our side that we have to open. If we are using open source, we have to write our system also in open source, and we have to open it sooner or later. But the tools that we are using there, and this is the main reason why we are writing open source, because we have to use tools that are open source. The tools that we don't have to, but it's much, of course, easier for us. These tools, these tools are, let's say, something that we all need. These tools are things like, for example, network. Okay.
Okay, so just because our time is going to finish, just there is one very important thing why we decide to talk about it, because I think all of us feel there is some tools what we need, all of us in IQRF. And this is especially tools for configuring the network of IQRF, what is very difficult sometimes, especially if you have to configure a lot of nodes and you have to make big networks, and you have to do it fast. So there is the tool with most of us playing now individually, and most of us doing about the same job. And in my feeling, no one of us is strong enough to make it only by himself. So I think this is one of the most important things what we can do together and support IQRF, because mostly IQRF now pressing to put it into the open source and developing this software. But we can participate in this, everybody. And I think we can make that tools much better. Also because we are in the touch with the end users and with the installers who are doing this. So we can make together it much better. And my feeling is open source is very good understandable by IQRF and by some companies here. But on the other hand, there is a lot of us who don't feel the power and don't feel the benefit and don't understand why it's so much important for us. So, and on the other hand, I think we don't have to be worried about the losing something because, as Kasper told, benefit of making something with lower cost, it's much, much, much bigger. So thank you very much for your attention.